Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast where transformation truly begins. Step into the extraordinary world of Tong Ren, a revolutionary distance healing technique that's breaking barriers and uniting an international community of hope and healing. Whether you're seeking profound relief, a spark of renewal, or a deeper, more meaningful connection to your healing journey, you're in the perfect place to begin. Here, we'll share life-changing testimonials, actionable insights, and inspiring stories to empower and uplift your Tong Ren practice and experience. This is your space to grow, to heal, and to discover the limitless potential within you. Take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's embark on this incredible journey of transformation together. Hello, everyone. Today we have a really important topic. This is about breathing and some of the best case studies, especially with Tong Ren, that we can talk about in terms of helping. So the important thing to understand is the mechanism of breathing. We have lungs. They open and close, but they open and close because of muscles that are supporting the lungs. This is called the diaphragm. It pushes the lungs up and down. The lungs are not muscles. They are passive containers of oxygen and perform gas exchange from our breathing into the chemistry of our own bodies. So the critical thing to understand is, how do we make sure, in simple terms, that we get enough oxygen? Now that's the key. Oxygen is the basic component of our lives. We combine oxygen and glucose from our carbohydrates, combine it, and it forms energy called ATP. Simple. Just like burning wood to create heat, we create ATP for energy, little batteries, to assemble proteins and fix things and to build the immune system, to do all those things. But at the basic level, we need energy batteries, and that's called ATP. And half of that process comes from the breath and the oxygen that we breathe in so many times per minute. As we all know, we can only stop food for amount of time, even days, without food or even water. But oxygen, breathing, only a matter of moments, because our body is so critically dependent on that element in our bodies. That's the key. That's how we have evolved. And it works fine because we're constantly breathing, we're constantly immersed in an oxygen environment. I think it's around 21% of the air actually holds oxygen, like that as well. So, what happens if we don't have enough oxygen? Our bodies will starve, we won't have energy, and we could ultimately basically pass out or die. So we want to make sure all the related mechanisms for breathing are working. Number one is the diaphragm. Number two are the lungs. And number three are our circulation of basically transporting oxygen. And a critical important that a lot of people don't realize is we may get oxygen in through our breath, but it is like a magnet attached to our red blood cells. And then it is released through the impact of carbon dioxide to actually release it to get into the body. So we may be carrying around a lot of oxygen in the body, but we may not be releasing it. So we have to have carbon dioxide. And where is the main place we get carbon dioxide? As I said before, oxygen, glucose, burns. It has a byproduct, side effect, water and CO2. And that's why we exhale CO2. Inhale oxygen, exhale CO2. So that's the basic process. But we retain some of that CO2 to release the oxygen from our cells into the body. So one of the things that I wanted to explain is with Tong Ren, one of the things is Tong Ren is incredibly effective for helping with asthma. Asthma is basically when the lungs themselves, which are built to receive as much oxygen as possible, have a deficiency or they're blocked. So if you think of the lungs like this, you want to catch as much oxygen as possible. So if it's closed, you're catching oxygen around here. Inside of our bodies, even like our brains, we have more surface area. So if this is closed, less oxygen is collected. If it's open, more oxygen is released. So one of the points, super points of Tong Ren is T6, because that deals with the diaphragm, and that's going to basically move more. And why is that important? That's critically important, because in breath training and breath exercises, the more the diaphragm moves, the more the lungs open and close, the deeper the lungs go, and the more you open those alveoli. So that's critically important. So we want to make sure the diaphragm is liberated to open and close the lungs. And the more it opens and closes them, it goes deeper to open a bottom reservoir of oxygenated areas that is usually not utilized, especially for people that are shallow breathers. I'm not using the bottom of my lungs. If I go like this, I'm using more of my lungs. I'm going deeper with my diaphragm. Not that the lungs are doing more work, they're opened more. They're released more. The diaphragm goes further. The lungs fall more deeply and they expand more. The alveoli open. So that's what we want to do. So asthma is when the alveoli are closed, the diaphragm is not pushing open and closed, and there are different things you can do even from exercise of the diaphragm itself. So one of those things is called resistance breathing, but that is a secondary way to work with it in Tong Ren. But resistance breathing is like push-ups. When you resist and push your body up, your muscles get stronger. Well, you can do that for your diaphragm by making it hard to exhale. So there are techniques and devices to make it harder to exhale. You can even do it with your fingers. So you breathe in. So that's just a real simple example. I'm giving resistance to the diaphragm. The diaphragm has to push harder. That's a push-up. It's going to get stronger. It's going to push harder and harder. When it pushes harder, it can push the lungs up further, pull them down more deeply. In Tong Ren, T6 is the magic point, and CV17. So those 2 points I've known for years that are incredibly effective. And let me get this here and show you where they are. In the magic chamber of Tong Ren universe. So T6, remember in our bony landmarks, T7 is the bottom of the scapula. T6 is right above. That's the diaphragm. Activate the diaphragm. If there's a blockage in the diaphragm, and sometimes people may have had an injury, the diaphragm won't open and close. That muscle will not be pushing. It's like doing push-ups in a brace. You can't move. So that's T6. And if you want to activate the lungs themselves, to make sure the lung is working, so T3 and T6. So that is the bioelectricity going to the lungs and the bioelectricity going to the diaphragm, basically a platform pushing and releasing the lungs, like 2 empty bags with different compartments. Now, here's the even more powerful point, CV17. So this is like the frontal access for the diaphragm. Now, one of the best ways to access this through Tong Ren, of course, number one is tapping, but number two is through a laser. Because a laser, if you think of it, it is expansion. It's charging a battery. CV17 is also the heart chakra, but also the middle dantian, which means it is receptive to charge the upper, middle, and lower dantian. I know from experience, in fact, this is a very specific case, a person in the Midwest, they would put the laser on CV17 instead of using a breathing device. And it worked. So that's one of the things you can do. You can actually put the laser there for persistence. It is expanding and opening basically the diaphragm and that chakra area, which is great. So CV17 is really, really helpful for that. So now the other areas, we don't want to forget Chinese medicine points, lung 1, lung 2. So that is a different type of energy flow. It is the biophotonic energy of the Chinese medicine meridians flowing to the lungs. Qi. Lung 1, lung 2, lung 1, lung 2. So there are a lot of things you can do for the lungs and breathing. So here's a basic protocol. This is really simple, easy, and it covers everything. From the front, you can activate a nerve that has a primary function to move the diaphragm. So that's called the phrenic nerve. That's right next to the vagus nerve. It is in the sky window. And add in Qi, biophotonic energy, through the meridians of Chinese medicine, lung 1, lung 2, right in that corner. Right in that corner, you can see it right there. 1, 2, lung 1, lung 2. CV17. This is one of our protocols that is very consistent for helping with breathing. This person replaced their bronchodilator chemical medicine inhaler with a laser. So those are the 4 points. And you can add in additional bioelectricity points, T3 for the lungs, T6 for the diaphragm. So this is a very, very thorough protocol that we use. It really works well. So the lungs axis, this is for lung capacity. Of course, in addition to that, do deep breathing or do Qigong, charging the batteries. Many options. Walking, exercise. What does it do? It works the muscles, that platform, the diaphragm, to go up and down more because you need more oxygen when you're doing exercise. The diaphragm will go up and down more. Basic stuff. If you sit at a computer too much, like somebody I know, then you're basically collapsing. If you're in a wheelchair, you definitely need to be stretched, different things to do to help people to breathe. So I know from personal experience, I got asthma. I got what is known as post-COVID asthma. And I took care of it in 2 ways. The core thing is activate the diaphragm. So I did all of those points. Sky window, lung 1, lung 2, sky window for the phrenic nerve, lung 1, lung 2, and CV17. And T3 for the lungs and lymph, lungs, and T6 rather, for the diaphragm. So I did that and the laser on CV17. And leave it on for 30 minutes to an hour, once a day, instead of an inhaler. It works. It works really well. So I had what was called post-COVID asthma. So what that means is because I got COVID, my lungs got scars, my lungs got filled up with fluid, and the alveoli closed. I couldn't breathe very well. It's difficult when you're basically running out of breath and you're not getting enough oxygen, which means you're not getting enough energy, which means you're not going to be able to do work. You'll end up needing to sleep more. So I did that. As always, as I recommend in our protocols, combine everything with the breath. And why is that? Because the breath is an activator of all the systems, especially the energetic systems of your body. So when I breathe deeply, I'm putting pressure on the fascia, which is putting pressure on the meridians, which is enhancing chi flow. If I'm breathing deeply, I'm putting pressure on the bioelectrical nerves of the body. I'm increasing basically electrolyte flow and charge. All of these things support the breath. The breath moves air, oxygen, more energy, more repair, less disease, more alkalinity, more charge. That's the basic formula. That's how we're built. We breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide. Plants are the opposite. They breathe in carbon dioxide, they breathe out oxygen. That's how the world works. So from a Tong Ren perspective, we can access the nerves and the chi. All these things are easy to access for us. So we want to make sure that we can be effective with Tong Ren. That's why we have a few very specific protocols. So the last thing I'll say as we continue on with our focus on Tong Ren as an effective tool, and the reason it's effective is because it can access the cause of a condition, the nerve itself, the blood supply itself, the craniosacral fluid itself, the chi itself directly. So we have 3 techniques we use. I use 2 of the 3. I use bodywork and I use Tong Ren. Same points. Acupuncturists in our style, they use needles. Same points. Primarily along the spine from the Hua Tuo area. So if people have breathing issues, focus on the front protocol, lung 1, lung 2, phrenic nerve, CV17, or the back part of that protocol, T3 for the lungs, T6 for the diaphragm. You've got it covered. Very well. So thank you for listening, and we appreciate your time. So we really want to make sure that you cover everything. And through my experience of over 25 years of Tong Ren, I keep adding sometimes more layers of effectiveness. So the different layers always help. But easy peasy, CV17 for tapping, but even better for the lungs is the laser on CV17 and leave it on maybe 30 minutes twice a day, as other people have, instead of their inhaler. So thank you for your time, and understand the power of Tong Ren, which is managed by our intention, the flow of biophotons or universal chi, enhanced through the amplifier and the super generator of being of service, the heart of compassion and kindness, which amplifies our work of service to others. So it's awesome to have you here. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions or comments, contact me. These videos should have comments below. And keep in touch with Anusar Wellness, our whole community. Our mission is to help you help others. And our motto is healing without borders, because we are one large global community. Thanks very much, and have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. What inspired you most today? Did something spark your curiosity or make you see things in a new light? Did you get a new perspective? This is your chance to take the first step or go even deeper into your own Tong Ren practice and your journey to a better health and services for others. We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, your aha moments, or even your own healing stories. Do you have any questions? Well, then reach out to our amazing community where you'll find support, answers, and connection. Don't forget, we got a bunch of great resources to help you grow. We have online courses, webinars, interviews, live workshops, and so much more. Together, we're building a movement of healing and transformation, and we're thrilled to have you as a part of it. Stay tuned for our next episode of Tap into Tong Ren, where we'll bring you even more stories, insights, and tools to empower and uplift your own health journey. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most of all, keep growing and sharing. Let's make incredible things happen together. See you next time.